Here's what we got right here. This is the heater hose inlet. This piece right here corrodes, and pretty terrible design by GM. So we are going to remove that, and then we have an adapter that we're going to be putting on this, and so basically we're going to take this off and we're going to try and screw it off with a 1 1/16 socket. And then typically it breaks down there at the bottom, so we're probably going to have to use this extractor. We did use some PB Blaster or some liquid wrench on it, so hopefully it won't break. All right, so now we've got the socket on there, and we're going to twist this thing and hopefully it doesn't break, and give it a go. Oh, it broke right off. Look at that. See, and that's what happens right here. They're made with this pot metal, and it just breaks off right in there. So now we have to get an extractor. So this is what it looks like with it out. I mean, it's just a very poor design. Why they didn't just use thread with the nipple, I don't know. We're just going to make this bulletproof. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to if we were to cut this hose off right here, it's not going to reach here. So what we're going to do, we're going to cheat the system a little bit here. We're going to pull up on this and give ourselves some slack. And so we're just raising this now. And so now we've got some more slack. So what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to cut this nipple off. And then I'm going to thread, we'll test the fitting of this tube. Pretty sure it's going to fit, but if it's too big or anything, I'm just going to test it before I go buy a new hose. This actually is a brand new hose, or recently in the last year or so. And then look how fast these things just deteriorate. Look, that wants to fall off right there. I mean, it's just incredible how this wasn't used. I mean, it's bulletproof. You thread it in there, you put it over it, and then you clamp the hose down on the nipple. I mean, that's a tried and true system. So why would they do that? I mean, that's just baffling. So anyhow, so that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to cut this right here after the metal, test fit the fitting, so I don't have to buy a new hose or check to see if I need to buy a new hose. So we just cut it off here, and just close to the fitting, and this fitting does work. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a clamp on this, and then that will thread into that. But notice from last night, I had driven it and I was trying to keep it a little warm when we were trying to remove this. I thought maybe the heat expanding would help it, and you know, so it was like butter. It's not even worth it, so don't even prep it. I mean, you could probably just try, liquid wrench or PB Blaster or whatever, but as little as pressure as I put on this and it just snapped off, I mean, it's really not worth it. Just don't prep really for it. Just turn it, get it done. Get to this moment right here. But it's just cold now, so the coolant has lowered. Last night it was kind of at the edge of it, so... but anyhow, that fitting right here does fit right there. So what we're going to do is just get a clamp. Now I do not have to buy a hose, right? So I'm good with this hose. If your hose is, worn or something, it's got some bad spots. This hose is only like really a year old or so, and so I'm gonna reuse this thing, and we're just gonna put a clamp on this, nail it down, and then we'll get you that here in just a second. So we just cut it off here, and just close to the fitting, and this fitting does work. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a clamp on this, and then that will thread into that. But notice from last night, I had driven it and I was trying to keep it a little warm when we were trying to remove this. I thought maybe the heat expanding would help it, and so it was like butter. It's not even worth it, so don't even prep it. I mean, you could probably just try, liquid wrench or PB Blaster or whatever, but as little as pressure as I put on this and it just snapped off, I mean, it's really not worth it. Just don't prep really for it. Just turn it, get it done. Get to this moment right here. But it's just cold now, so the coolant has lowered. Last night it was kind of at the edge of it. So, but anyhow, that fitting right here does fit right there. So what we're going to do is just get a clamp. Now I do not have to buy a hose, right? So I'm good with this hose. If your hose is, you know, worn or something, it's got some bad spots. This hose is only like really a year old or so, and so I'm gonna reuse this thing, and we're just gonna put a clamp on this, nail it down. So we're gonna go over the tools that you're gonna need to start with. You're gonna need that socket 1 1/16 to remove the initial coupler. It's gonna be a one and done, so if you can borrow that, that would save you about 10 to 12 bucks. This guy right here is gonna be what we're replacing it with. 56360 Dorman number there, and then the extractor tool 62200, and then 5/8 to be able to turn that. Gonna need probably this middle. I needed some of these anyway, so I just grabbed a packet, but we're gonna be using one of these guys right here, about that size, to fit over that right there. So you're also going to need the razor blade to cut it, right? The hammer to hammer this guy in, and here is your, you know, wrench or driver for your sockets. So that's what you need. Extension to get down in there, and we are going to do some sealant tape, some Teflon tape, and then some pipe dope, and that's going to be, we're going to just make this bulletproof. So now, this guy, just to show you the steps here, we're going to tap it in there, okay? Going to use that hammer, tap it in, make sure it's good and tight, and then we are going to use that socket to extract it. So we've got it in there pretty decent, but just to show you this, you're going to have trouble hitting around a couple of things. I'm not saying you should do this to your tools, but this is what I did. I did that right there to hold it. I tapped it in there a little bit just with this, without the socket, for a second. So if you've got a driver, some type of punch, but then I did this. I'm not saying it's the best, I'm not saying it's the right way, but I've got another 5/8 socket, so I was willing to try that to make sure we got it here. And then this way it doesn't slide off, but if you don't have a punch, and you know, just be careful not to break your socket. But initially I just used the driver. So I mean, it's a big one, so I just kind of used it like a punch, and then at the very end here, just kind of seating it, a couple more whacks, get that thing in there. And you can see the height of it, so you remember the picture earlier. So I got it in there pretty good. I may give it one more whack. So let me tell you the current situation. I tried to do it with this right here. You're gonna need an extender on it, okay? And you're gonna need to angle it this way with an extender, because down here is too low, okay? So, but I had this guy right here, and I didn't have a pipe extender, so I resorted to this, and I had to hit it. I mean, I let it sit on there a couple of times, pulling the trigger on it for maybe, you know, 10-15 seconds, 3 or 4 times to jar this thing, and finally it just broke with the impact. So now I'm gonna go to this right here, and I mean, you literally can see where that socket was just wearing into that. It was taking the color off that thing. I mean, it's not an impact socket, but it withstood it. I mean, for a long time, multiple times, you know, 3 or 4 times for about 10 or 15 seconds to jar this thing. And I think just the impact of everything was really helping the threads. So now, let's see if we can turn this biatch. Let's see here. There we go. And now, let's see. Let me see if I can get in there. I might have to hit it by the impact again. I mean, this bitch is tight. All right, so I'm gonna have to hit it a little bit more with the impact. I don't have a pipe. Let's see what the angle is here with, if this was turned around with, if you had a pipe here. So yeah, you'd have clearance, you know, a pipe right here going up, and then plenty of clearance to push it, you know. So, but I just don't have a pipe, so I need to hit it with the impact just a little bit more, because this thing is, and I don't want to lean it here I'll tell you what, I have really used this guy. I mean, this thing paid for itself right here. And let's see if we can, there's how far we got it out. Let's see if, look at it turn, baby. Woo! We are in the game. What's it? Look at that. Boom. I was making me nervous, man. After a couple hits with that impact and it wasn't budging. Damn, man, I got a little bit nervous. Oh, yeah, baby. Now it's, should come out. Should come out just with the turn of the, look at there. I mean, damn it, boy. Look at that. I gotta get that thing off. Look how far I drove it down. So you can kind of see, and I'm sure the pressure of that is forcing against the threads, which is making it a little tighter. Maybe you shouldn't drive it down that far. I'm not sure, but luckily I had the impact. Thank you, baby. And so now I'm going to install this. So what you want to do is to go clockwise with the threads, about 3 or 4, probably 4. This stuff is kind of light, so I'm gonna go around it for a second here. Okay, and then by you going clockwise with it will help tighten. So now we're going to take some pipe dope. I'm going to go with the clockwise because I don't want to spin off or do anything weird to the threads as I'm putting this on. And basically I'm just going to make this bulletproof. I'm going to be pretty liberal with it. And this is a one and done. This nipple system, you set it, be done with it. Be done. We'll never have to mess with it again. I mean, it's the most basic common, you know, adapter as far as a nipple and threads for liquids. And why they didn't use it, it's just, you know, crazy. I don't know what all that was about. One thing that it just slipped my mind. Basically, you need a deep socket for that right there. It looks to be a 7/8 or a 22 millimeter. Basically, I'm just using a crescent wrench, and then when I'm getting to the end here, I'm tapping on it. So I'm just tightening up that way. You know, it's just one of the things. Maybe this needed to happen to help somebody else out, because there's a wild angle here, and so that's just kind of what I'm doing. I had to move this little clip off of this right here, just to, I don't know, give me a little bit more room at the end. But you may not have to do that, but just the way you have to keep flipping a crescent wrench. Ideally, it's not, you know, what you want to do. You want to get a deep socket. So check that fitment before you do it. It'll make your life a lot easier on this install. That's probably the one little thing that I forgot. So the angle of this right here, while it's in this bracket right here, is too tall. It can't reach it unless cut, fabricate, maybe get another hose. I don't know. I'm not going to go this route right here. I'm just going below it. I'm going to tie strap this off and then keep this plastic here over the valve cover. And so we're just going to put it in there like that. And this is going to be an 8 millimeter here. And then that'll be a straight shot, just with an extension. Be easy to get to if I ever need to take it off. But obviously this should be a one and done if I ever need to replace the hose. And it's in there. Don't have to worry about anything else. Now guys, if you've liked this video, if this helps you out, please hit that like and subscribe button, brother. Greatly appreciate it. I'm going to be doing some other vids of, you know, just different things. But Big Red, we just had to bulletproof this from that design, because I'm going to be pulling the trailer and the new camper and stuff, and we can't have anything. I'm just going over all the weak spots on just whatever, and this is a huge factor in this design of this coupler here. I mean, it's just devastating. That small little coupler, plastic, quick disconnect can ruin your entire motor. I mean, it's just crazy. So we're gonna bulletproof this. So I'm gonna strap this down, tie strap it here, and then it says the dope, the pipe dope after 24 hours. You can move it before 24 hours. So I'm just gonna let it sit for probably until the morning, just to let it sit. I just want everything to get rock solid and do whatever it needs to do. And I'm just gonna baby it. And I'm off work today, so I don't need to do anything. I can just let it sit and drive it in the morning, and I'll be happy. So here we go. We are done with the install. That is rock solid. Really like that. Use some red tie straps here just to keep that together. And then you've got another holder down here. So that's not going anywhere. And there's plenty of room off the cover. And now we just made this thing bulletproof. So if this video has helped you out and you're going to bulletproof your 5.7 or whatever GM motor you've got that's got that stupid ass coupler, hit that like button, baby, hit that sub button, and we'll catch you on the next project.